All right, so time for another 2022 tax refund update. I wish I had some better news. Unfortunately, I don't. The reality is a lot of early filing taxpayers who filed in January, early February, their returns were showing as accepted in the processing phase. They were supposed to get their refund checks March 1, right? That's the target date the IRS had because the PATH Act expired. So you were supposed to get your check, but a lot of people are unfortunately still waiting. And the reality is I can't but help think that this is related to simply the massive backlog of returns the IRS had at the start of the season, right? I mean, the IRS has publicized this information too, right? At the start of the season, so January 24th was the first date you could file. They had 8 million Form 1040 tax returns, both original and amended, that were still yet to be processed, which is ridiculous. 8 million returns, Form 1040s. 1.5 million were business returns, and then they had another 5 million pieces of mail that they haven't opened yet. What a lot of taxpayers don't realize is that even on the tax professional side, like I am, when we coordinate with the IRS, it's always via mail, right? There's no emailing. Fax is still limited use. Occasionally you talk to people on the phone, but you have to respond via mail to everything. And so for that reason, mail takes a long time to process, right? It's got to be mailed to the office. They accept it. Somebody opens it. They scan it in, assign it to an agent. It takes a year to get a response from the IRS, even in good times. So this has to be the reason why a lot of these returns and refunds have still yet to be processed for this season. I'm convinced that's the case. Now, for the returns, this 8 million number for the 1040s for last year, this is creating a huge issue for people trying to e-file this year, right? And the reason is because of AGI validations, right? So when you file your 2021 tax return now, you have to enter what your AGI was for 2020 in order to pass the validation check. This is one of these identity theft protection procedures they have in place. Well, what do you do if you filed your 2020 tax return, but it hasn't been processed, right? You have an AGI because you know what you filed, but the system doesn't show the same number because they have yet to process it. Well, the current workaround, if you're e-filing, is just enter 0. So if you know your return wasn't processed for 2020, then enter a 0 in the validation field when you're using the 2021 tax software, and that should push the 2021 tax return through the e-filing system. It seems to be working so far. Again, I mean, ideally, your 2020 return should be processed and filed before you start this year, but this is what we got in front of us right now. The other big issue I'm seeing right now is the 6475 letters. So the third stimulus payment that went out last year, if you didn't get it, you're eligible to claim it on this year's tax return. Now, before you claim anything, the IRS was sending out these 6475 letters to verify the amount that they think they paid you, right? Here's the problem. They said they started mailing these things even in late December. So, conservatively, we thought that most people would get these in the mail in January, maybe early February. People are still getting them this week. I've had 4 clients that called me and said, hey, I just got this letter this week. What do we do? Well, obviously, that's a huge problem, right? The IRS basically lied. They said that they were going to send these things out in January. They didn't. If you're still getting them now, if you've already filed your tax return before you get this letter in the mail, it could or could not be a bad thing, right? Or an issue, right? So look at the letter, and the letter is supposed to verify the amount of stimulus payment, the third payment that you received, okay, which was $1,400 a person. If you receive the full $1,400 and the letter 6475 shows you got $1,400, so it's correct, and then you look at your Form 1040, look at line 30 of Form 1040, if you're not claiming any other amount, then you're fine, right? So you're filing a tax return with a 0 on line 30 saying you already got your third stimulus payment, so there's no issues. Where you have a problem is if you didn't get the full amount, or if you have other dependents that were supposed to get an amount, or your spouse, and the amount that's on 6475 doesn't reconcile with what you completed in the worksheet. So in effect, you're claiming another third stimulus payment when the IRS already thinks you got the whole thing. That is going to cause a delay. The IRS system is going to flag that return. It's going to put a hold on it, and an agent is going to have to look at it and try to figure out what's going on. So if you find variances here, if you're just getting this 6475 letter, you're finding these variances, this could be a reason why your return is still held up in processing. It hasn't been completely processed and you haven't had a refund issue. So that covers it for this video. Again, I wish I had better news, but yeah, the system is not very great right now. So keep checking the Where's My Refund portal. Keep checking those account transcripts. Look at the codes. Always be on the lookout for IRS notices in the mail. Remember that they are sending out a lot more notices now to verify things like income, relationship status. These are elements that are necessary for the earned income tax credit, the child tax credit. So they are doing a little more due diligence, but again, just keep checking the system. And, I hope your refunds get released and into your bank accounts as soon as possible. So, all right, thanks guys for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Thanks.